Good evening, everyone. My name is Gregory Stargell. How's everyone today? All right. So I see there's a lot of people that was interested in the topic tonight. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and let's dive into about the debt crisis. I know a lot of people were talking about how on the news they're saying we're in trillions and trillions of dollars of debt, and I'm going to actually go over how we actually got into the mess that we were in. It wasn't just the Democrats or just the Republicans or just global warming or whatever the news are saying. There are key things that actually happened throughout history that led us to where we are today. So let's get started. So first of all, as of today, our country is over $16 trillion in debt. So let me break that down to you what that would look like. Our population, according to the Census Bureau, is 314,592,889 people. And out of that population, only about 114.5 million people are actually taxpayers. So not even half the population are taxpayers. So if we split up the debt amongst the population, that means that each citizen would owe $51,436. Yeah, everybody, I know that is a pretty big figure because not too many people are making $51,436. The reason I know that is because the median income for Huntsville, Alabama is around $36,000. So that means $15,000 we would be in debt every year per year if we were going by the median income. But if we split it amongst the taxpayers, that would be $141,280. As you can see, that can be real immense. I cannot tell you how many people that I know that go to a job or that works on the arsenal that makes 141,000, let alone $100,000. So that's how our debt looks in perspective. Now I'm gonna go over key dates or years that led up to our $16 trillion debt that we have today. And those will be 1913, 1933, 1971, and 1974. And then I'm going to give you options on how we can fight against this debt crisis. And no, it does not have to require you kicking out the Democrats or having to kick out the Republicans and things of that nature. It will be pretty much, you will not have to worry about politics in that area. So you can put down your campaign speeches for now. 1913, this is where it all began. In 1913, our country decided to have the Federal Reserve, and that's when it was born, in 1913. But in order to fund this case for the Federal Reserve, they had to make an amendment so that we can have a reserve in the first place. And so that's when we had the 16th Amendment, and that brought forth the permanent income tax things. So when you see that we have to pay taxes, we really didn't have to pay it every year like we do now previously to 1913. It was mainly when we paid income tax, it was mainly for times of war or things of that nature when we had to come together to fund a particular federal national wide type instance like a war or things of that nature. Now, 1933, we had the Federal Reserve come in, and now it's coming in for 20 years. And so people start seeing that, okay, they're not feeling too confident in the dollar because it was pretty easily printed and things of that nature. So what people did was they start trading in their dollars for gold. And so they wouldn't have the dollars, or the paper trail. And that was bad for the Federal Reserve because they needed people to take the dollars so that they can get their money. Because for every dollar that the Federal Reserve makes, the Federal Reserve gets 2%. So as you can see, if no one taking the dollar bills, or if the dollar bills are not being printed, the Federal Reserve is not making their money. So this led to 1933. FDR takes office while people lost confidence in the dollar. However, FDR had a lot of social programs that he wanted to fund, which was like Social Security, Medicare, the child laws, and different things of that nature that you may have read about in history. So what he did was he put a law where people had to trade in their gold. So he put in a law that states that everybody had to trade in their gold and take the dollar bills, which made sense. It made the Federal Reserve happy, as well as eventually will make him happy as well. Because a short time afterwards, 6 months later, he devalued the dollar after he forced everybody to trade in their gold, and he changed the price so that when people turned in their gold, they actually were paying about 25 or $28 per ounce. But when they want to buy it back, they had to buy it back around $34 per ounce. So as you can see, that was a good $6, $6 to $9 profit per ounce that the government got just by doing this act, which I consider a grand larceny. But some people called him a hero. I guess everybody's entitled to their own opinions. But with that, he was able to get enough money to fund the different social programs that we have today, like Social Security, Medicare, and those different programs like that. So we moved down along, everything going pretty well, and then 1971 occurred. So how many people remembered 1971? Okay, how many people were born in 1971? Unfortunately, I was not one of the people that were born in 1971. But from my understanding from history, in 1971, there was a war that was called the Vietnam War, and it was one of the most conflict uh, one of the wars that had the most conflicts throughout the whole out of all the wars that was in America. And so with those, there was a man that was in office by the name of Richard Nixon, and he was pretty much under these different guidelines or these different things that were coming against him while he was in office. The first thing was we had the Vietnam War, which was also a very costly war at the time and not very supported by many Americans. And then on top of that, we were starting to lose power in the exports. So we were starting to import more stuff than we were exporting out things, which hindered the amount of revenue our company was our not our company. Well, you can consider our country a company as well, but our country was losing revenue as well. So Richard Nixon, by himself, without the aid of Congress, decided to break the dollar away from the gold standard. Now you may be saying, so what does that mean? Before, when we had the gold standard, that means in order to print a certain amount of money, you had to make sure that you have a certain amount of that value in gold in reserves. So therefore, if you want to print $1,000, you have to make sure that you have $1,000 worth of gold in your reserves. But when he took away the dollar from the gold standard, that means our currency not only turned from actual paper or something of value, it turned into debt. So as you may notice, if anybody has a $1 bill, a $5 bill, or a $10 bill, if you look at it, you'll see Federal Reserve note. And so when you think of note, what do you think of? No, 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 I'm not talking about that note. I'm like, this guy went back to high school. He talking about passing notes, love notes. No, that's not the type of notes I'm talking about. Have you ever had a thing called a car note? What about a house note? What are those things? Yes, those are debt. So usually most people are looking for the day that they can pay off their car note or house note. But as you see, our money turned into currency, which actually means debt in our current situation. So now, since 1971, our dollar bill is backed off of everyone's debt or ability to pay back. And to make matters worse, you had 1974 that came to pass. Now, what happened in this case is that jobs went from benefit to contribution based retirement. So, how many of you all remember the whole thing about the pension? I know government workers pretty much will understand the whole thing about pensions, but that means you pretty much have a certain benefits that you can have if you stay with the company a certain amount of time, and they will pay you after you retire. And so everybody was looking forward to the time when they can actually retire. Well, 1974 came along and they changed pretty much that structure for people. Now they have to have a direct contribution retirement. So that's when you had the 401ks, the 403bs, as well as the Roth IRAs come into play. And so that's when we start seeing a disappearance of pension plans and health benefits. And so some people may debate that it's a good idea. Some people will say it's a bad idea. In my honest opinion, I mean, I'm not the law or anything like that. I thought it was a bad idea. First and foremost, because it put people in a position where they had to learn how to be investors, but they didn't give them the proper guidance or the proper avenues to learn how to be an investor. So you got a lot of these people that after 1974, maybe you were one of them, you get them a job and they say, oh, you want to put in as much money into your retirement fund so that when you get a certain age or when you become 40, you'll become a millionaire. How many people in here receive that type of information? But I want you to think about it from another way. Let's say that I came up to you and say, how about this? I want you to give me a certain amount of money. Let's say $500 or 5% of whatever you make. And I want you to give that to me every month until you retire. And after you retire, I'll give you a certain amount. I'll give you your money back and probably a little bit more in return. Now, how many people would actually do that? And if you was a regular Joe on the street, I don't see any hands up. But you do it. But people are doing it every day when they sign up on a job. They're giving their money away to a person that they never meet, that they never come in contact with. And then they get mad that when they finally retire, they have less money than they actually put in throughout the whole time that they were working. And so that mainly is reason why I thought it was a bad idea, because you put a lot of uninformed investors out on the marketplace, which can make different damages as well. How many people remember 2008, for example? But I won't go into that. So now that you know your history, I stand for you today to give you options. Just like with anything, you have an option. I'm giving you four options that you can do at this current time. There may be more, but for the sake of this presentation, there are four. The first one is you can do nothing. You can say, "Oh well, that's the way it is, and I'm just gonna take it. It is what it is, and I can accept that." Just just know that you pretty much are giving your control over to somebody else. Even though I would disagree with it, I but either way I will respect it because that is your opinion. That is your decision. And the good thing is you made a decision. The second thing is the second option is like an offset to the first one is complain. Now, that is the most inefficient thing to do out of the four options is to complain. So you find people that are unwilling to make decisions and they don't like something, but instead of actually doing something to make it right or to make it into their favor, they just sit and get a group of people and sing a woe is me song. And they sing it in 3, 4 part harmony. You got the person over here say, "Oh, woe is me, my job took my money from me. Oh, woe is me, my wife left me because wasn't making enough money. Oh, woe is me, my dog got sick because he didn't have health care benefits." And so the list goes on and on. But I encourage you, please, out of all the options, please don't choose complaining because it doesn't fix anything and it doesn't make anything better just by complaining. And it can possibly get you stuck where you are just complaining. Another thing is you can move to another country. That's a viable option. Not too many people have the funds in order to do that, or the no, or the wherewithal to do that. So you gotta think like most people when you think moving to another country, they're thinking, okay, I'm gonna move to Paris or move to France or move to, well, that's the same place. Move to Spain or move to United Kingdom, move to the Bahamas. But they don't understand the economy or the role that may come into play in those areas as well. And in some cases, the effects of America affects those areas in different countries as well. So that may be a viable option, but you have to make sure you do your research. And then finally, you can just play the game. Play the financial game. And there's two ways you can play it. You could play it randomly. You could probably do stocks and bonds and do no research and just hopefully hope and probably do the lottery and all those different things and just hope with no real game plan, with no structure. You may hit the mark, but odds are against you that you won't hit it, unfortunately. And if you do, you'll go right back to where you were in the beginning because they surveyed a lot of people that have won the lotteries and found out that even though they won the millions of dollars, they ended up back at the income stream in which they started because they didn't change their mind. The other way is to do it the wise way. Get yourself some financial education. And I know I'm going to be grammatically incorrect with this. There ain't no better way than to get financial education. Understand your finances. Know what a stock is. Know what a bond is. Know what the different strategies are. Know what the different real estate markets are doing. Know what the commodities are doing. And just pick something and stick with it and make sure that you master it. Okay, hold on one second while we have a little technical difficulties. There we go. Next slide. So now a little bit more about the wise way. So you might be asking, what should I do then? Well, just like it says in The Richest Man in Babylon, there was a man in there that coined the phrase to say, pay yourself first. So what does that mean? That means whatever you do, whatever income you bring in, you try to take 10% off the top. 10% off the top. You live off the 90%. And if you're a Christian, you live off of 80% because the other 10 goes to your tithes or no, goes to your tithes. And then what you do is, as you build in that 10%, it's going to build up and up and up. And that money is what you use to hire or you invest. You take on different projects and make sure that there are passive income projects, not projects where you have a cousin that's falling on hard times like they always do, or they trying to get married to this person and they need money to get this person from over from overseas so that they can marry them. Please stay away from things like that. Don't use your 10% for that. But use your 10% that you accumulate to explore passive income streams, whether it's real estate, business, commodities, or paper. And there are many different ways that you can get started into them. My suggestion is that you pick one and you pretty much stick with it to get to the point where you become like pretty much an expert in it. You pretty much study it, you study it, you study it, you sleep with it, you dream with it, everything. Make sure so that when you come across a deal in that particular area, you know it is a deal and it's something that you can use wise counsel on. So Hopefully, everyone in here chose the wise way to go forth. So I want you all to take control of your future. But some of you may be asking, how can I do that? Or where do I start? And I ask you, would you like an opportunity that can help you fight against this debt crisis? And if I can give that to you, would you be interested in knowing more information? Awesome, great. I actually got one for you. So now let's go over the business overview. Pretty much it's pretty much going over businesses and e-commerce. Actually, there's a name for it, but I'm gonna let y'all guess it. So the agenda is we're gonna look into the why aspect, we're gonna look into the how aspect, and then I'm gonna open it up for question and answers, which is frequently asked questions. Well, I'm just gonna give you the frequently asked questions that were in this industry. So, why? Why should I start a business? And also, why should I start it online? Or why should I start one in general? Well, there are many different ways or different reasons why you should start a business. First and foremost, in the state of our economy, job insecurity. You know, you got people that are even in the government that were saying, oh, you got to get a good paying job. Or if you could only get to the government, you have safety and security. But now that we had the furloughs, as well as the possibility of rifts in the next fiscal year, the security thing is not looking too bright at this time, even for government employees. So that might be another reason you might want to look into starting a business, possibly an online business or a home-based business. Next thing is you might be looking at the lifestyle of the people above you. You know, as you go up and you want to move up in the chain of ladder and the chain of command. But it's kind of messed up if you look up at your chain of command, your supervisor and your supervisor working 10, 12, even 15 hours a day and they getting the same pay and I mean eventually because they're salary, they are working for more hours than what they're supposed to or have to in order to get different jobs done. So therefore, they're losing time with their family. They're losing their health because they're not taking good care of themselves or eating correctly. And the millions of other things. You might see your boss going through a divorce and cheating on his secretaries and things of that nature because he's spending more time on his job than he actually is at home. Now, it may not just be the job thing, but I'm not going to go into that. I'll probably save that for Maury or Oprah. The next thing is you might be looking at your bank account and saying, I'm tired of having more month at the end of money. And so you might know that if you don't make changes, nothing will change. And then of course BYOB. Yeah, this guy over here, he's over there smiling. No, man, this is not bring your own beer. This means be your own boss. You, yeah, you're a funny individual, man. I'll tell you. I'm not mean to call you out. I'm sorry. All right. So, and also, you want to start your own business because your job pays the bills. but your business provides a lifestyle. And I like how Jim Rohn put it. He said, wages make you a living, but profits make you a lifestyle. Or maybe you have a dream car in mind. You might have you might have a good car that you want and that you can only dream of, but knowing your work conditions, you will never achieve it. So I'm gonna ask, and you might have a dream home, and maybe you want to travel around the world and have no budget, without no budget, no time limit, without having to ask someone if you can go on a vacation or have to worry about if you have the necessary leave in order to do it. So I'm gonna ask one of y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you since I picked on you about the bring your own beer thing. Yeah, tell me what is your do you have a dream car or a dream home? Oh, you have a dream car. Okay, what is it? Oh, a Bugatti. That's what's up. What color you want on that Bugatti? You want a you want a black with red interior? That's what's up, man. How about this? Can you imagine you going to the showroom and you see that Bugatti? You walk up to it and then you open the door. The person let you go in and let you sit inside the car. Did you want cloth seats or leather seats? You want leather seats. That's what I'm talking about. That's the right way to go. You want leather seats. Can you feel yourself sitting on those leather seats? Yeah. Can you feel that, man? Can you that feel the actual steering wheel that you're of that car? How does it feel? That's what's up. Can you see the rear view mirror? Can you see how the dashboard feel? How the dashboard looks? Oh man, yeah, that's what's up. And so, can you imagine you stepping out of that car and they say it's a price tag of $250,000, and then you get out the car and you write a check and you hand it to them for $250,000, and they hand you the keys. How would you feel at that moment? Then that's what a business can do for you, my friend. But my why that looked into starting my own business is because I grew up in a single family household. I'm the oldest of three kids. Four, if you look into the union between my mom and my dad. And I remembered how my mom used to raise us on an income that was less than $10,000, around $8,641 per year. And she did a good job in my opinion because we didn't really want for anything. And if no one didn't tell me that I was in poverty, I would never know. Because there was that love there that we had with each other. But I can remember those times when my mom would think that we were all asleep and I could hear her crying because she wondering where is her next bill, or where is her next money gonna come for that bill that's coming up. Because she had more months at the end of money. And so growing up, I noticed that we were poor. Yeah, I know that's grammatically incorrect. Yeah, we were poor. We actually had to put the OR on railway because we can't afford to be poor. So at the age of 14, I was able to get a job so that we can finally get the OR out of the railway and we could afford to be poor. But it's those things that were ingrained in me, and it helped me to get to the decision that I wouldn't want this for my family. And then we fast forward to the age that I was 20, and my main cheerleader, the person that helped me to get through and believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself, she passed away. And I remembered all the people that was in the church. It was about, I said the church sit about 5,000 people. And every seat in that church was filled. It was so many people there that there was overflow in the church. And there was even an overflow room as well. And the funny thing is, that wasn't all the people. That was not even all the people that my grandmother had touched. There were some people that didn't even know about the funeral or didn't know that she had passed away. And so I was thinking about how she touched so many people's lives. And I said, I wanted to do the same thing too. And finally, a couple of days afterwards, probably the next day, I remember sitting down with my mom. And she was sitting at the table, just like this. She had her head down. And she said, you know what, Greg? Your grandmother sat at the table just like I'm doing with you. And she told me that I came into the world poor and I'm going to die poor. And that's what she did. And then my mom looked at me and she said, maybe I'll be like your grandmother. I came into this world poor and I might die poor. And I'm going to die poor. And there was something inside me that revved me up. It was something that sparked me to my soul. I mean, it's something that quickened my spirit. I think I had like a David moment in that point. And I looked my mom in the eye, just like this. And I said, not on my watch. This day, I'm going to end poverty in the lives of everyone's life, in my family's life. It's going to end with me. It's not going down to my children. It's not going down to my children's children. It's going to stop right here. I'm going to slay it, and we're going to live in abundance. And I'm going to do it before you pass away. And so, with that, that is why I want to start my own business. And the reason I started this type of business is because I know there are other people that have the same why or similar why as me, that they want to destroy poverty in their families. They want to break the chains of poverty in their family. They want to destroy the spirit of poverty and live in prosperity and live in abundance. It's so that when their children, when their grandchildren, when their great grandchildren look at their picture, they will say, because of because of my grandmother, because of my granddaddy, because of my daddy, I am able to live in abundance. And if there's one of you that has that same why, then I encourage you to listen on forward. And that's okay. So so you might be asked, so the other thing is why e-commerce? E-commerce is pretty much business that is conducted on the internet. So like internet marketing and things of that nature would be considered e-commerce. Back in 1998, which is, wow, that was a long time ago, 15 years ago, it was a $39 billion industry. When we go 3 years back at 2010, it went from 39 billion to 205 billion dollars industry, which was 5% of the world market. And in 2018 is projected to be a 1.2 trillion. Yes, that's trillion with a T, not a B. Dollar market, which would be 15 to 20% of the world market. So how many people in 5 years will want a piece of that $1.2 trillion pie or market? So the bottom line is we could either waste time on the internet or we could learn to capitalize on how to make money using the internet to become wealthy in the next 5 years and take a part of that $1.2 trillion pie. And if you're here and you want to take a part of that, please listen closely as I speak on in this presentation and also take notes. New wealth created by people under 30 was through e-commerce and internet. So some examples of that was Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, Facebook, eBay. All these companies were started by a younger generation. And these people are multimillionaires today. So I ask you, why not you? Why not you? Why can't you be one of the millionaires? So with that, I want to spark something inside of you to encourage you to look forth in this with an open ears and with an open mind. Now, there's some things that may stop you in doing a traditional business, which is why e-commerce is probably more favorable than a traditional business. Because when you have a traditional business, you have a startup cost and you have to go to the banks and you have to beg for capital in order to get started because most people don't have enough capital to get started. Then they have the lack of time because in order to actually start a startup business, most people have to do it on their own. And so they find themselves having to work 10, 12, 15, 20 hours and may not even get minimum wage in order to work those many hours. Then they have to find a place, a location, a rent space, or brick and mortar building. Then they had to get inventory. Then they had to get knowledge and expertise. Then they had to get employees. They had to get insurance. They had to get marketing skills. They had to get insurance for the employees as well as themselves and home health insurance for the employees and everything. Then you have the legal headaches. What if a person falls on your property? You have to have the correct lawyers in place. You have to do your due diligence and different other things in line. You have to make sure you abide by the employees' different guidelines for having employees. And as you see, as it builds up and up and up, the risk can be really huge. That's why a lot of people are moving toward the e-commerce or internet marketing business. And so you may be asking, this sounds interesting. I want to fight the spirit of poverty in my family. So how can I do it? I'm glad you asked. Well, we are on one of the biggest online malls in the world. Yes, in the world. We have Barnes& and Noble, Ace Hardware, Best Buy, Choice Hotels, and many, many other stores as well. And then we also have Neutralite, which is number one online. We have Artistry, which is a beauty product, which is number one online. And we have Home Care products, which is Legacy of Clean. Ew, that was tongue tied for a minute. It is one of the first green detergents out in the marketplace. So therefore, if anybody here that wants to make going green and also want to fight against global warming, then this is a good opportunity for you, as well as make money and look good at the same time. Yes, I had to throw that in there. So how does it work? Well, you have a store which would be like yourmall.com. Let's say it's called yourmall.com, or it could be freshbakedgoods.com, making money at the mall.com, money at the mall, or healthy, a holy moly donut, or holy moly rollers. I don't know, names are not pretty good on this. But what would the way it would work is that people will go through you to buy in your mall. So you'll have like a little mall. If anybody ever been to Madison Square Mall or Parkway Place Mall, you know that there are people that buy rent space in the mall, and so you have a lot of shops in one particular area. This is the same concept that will go through your website. Through your website, people will come to your website to look at different stores that they can buy products from. And so they will make an order. That order will go to the particular store like Walmart, Amazon, Fresh Direct, or any other stores. And that store will have the responsibility of sending that product to that person. And so you don't have to worry about having inventory or having people call you and say, "Where's my stuff?" Because the actual stores will be in charge of making sure that that they get the material. And so with your stores, you'll have better qualities, better prices in most cases, as well as you can give them a 180-day money back guarantee and give them convenience as well as bring you income potential. I don't know too many places where you can go in the marketplace and get a 180-day money back guarantee. You know, if you go to most places, the highest I've seen was like a 90-day guarantee, and they have different stipulations and things of that nature. If you don't buy this product on the full moon, then you get a 90-day guarantee. But here it is 100-day, no questions asked, which can be appealing to your customers because not many places are offering that. So they're getting quality products at good prices with a with a 180-day guarantee. Now you cannot beat that with a stick. And so with this, the way that you can market your mall is everybody has a network, whether it's your virtual network or your real network. So in here I know has a Facebook account because some of y'all saw the Facebook event. So you might be connected to at least 1,000 or so people. I know Facebook give you a maximum of 5,000 people, but can you imagine leveraging that amount of people? If even if you have 5,000 people, just looking at how many times or how much you can make just by having people, those 5,000 people just shop through you for their goods instead of going to Walmart or going to the many stores and not and missing out on the possibility of a 180-day money back guarantee. Also, you might have people on your cell phone network. How many people in here have cell phones? I know everybody should have one because I remember driving by at the stoplight and I saw a bum, or well, I guess I can't call him a bum, is a homeless guy sitting on sitting by the corner on the sitting on the corner waiting by the light with a will work for food sign, and he was on the cell phone of all things. This guy said I will work for food, and he was on the cell phone missing out on begging for people. So I was confused on that. So if a person who is homeless is able to afford a cell phone, then I know everyone in here should be able to afford a cell phone. So therefore, you can use your network that is in your cell phone. And out of the 100% of your income, 90% gets spent and 10% goes into savings. What are we saying is change your buying habits for your home. Buy from your business and save money. Then go on and teach others. If you can do a thing, you can teach a thing. So as you can see, majority of the people, let's say you only eat 2 times a day, breakfast and lunch. Breakfast probably run you, let's say, about $5, and lunch will run you about $10. So as you can see, you're spending about $15 a day. So if you multiply that $15 for 30 days, you are spending $450 per month on food and drink. So we're not saying just use the whole $450. Just use 200 of it. Just by shopping in your own business. And you can use the other $250 as you so please. Not only will you increase your health, but you can also increase your productivity of life. And so with that, this brings us into a comp plan, which is a performance-based chart. So we're making the assumption that we have points values and we have business volume. Business volume is how much you are selling altogether, dollar value. So let's say you made $1,000 in sales. While the point value is how a certain amount of points you get per business volume that you bring in. So let's say in this case, we're making the assumption that for every $2.5 you bring in, you get a point. So let's look at the business structure. So if you start at 100 points, you get 3% of whatever you bring in business volume wise. So 3% of $250 would be $7.50. While you're saving about $2.50 on things that you will buy anyway. And as you see, it goes down. At 300, you get 6%. 600, you get 9. 1,000, 12. 1,500, 15%. Now, at this point, at 1500, this is when you start having your break even point. This is an important milestone because this is where you break even in your start to break even in your income. Somewhere in between the 1000 and 1500 PV range. And then you have 4000, 6000, and then you have 7500. Anything above 7500 PV, you're in the 25% commission range. And this is also, if you're able to hold that for 12 months, that is called being a platinum. So here's the plan. It's called 642 plan. For the first month, you personally do 100 personal points, so that you get a monthly income of $80, which would be the 72.50 plus the $7.50 that you make in commissions. Then once you are able to do that, find 6 people that you can teach to do the same thing. If you teach those, you start moving up from $80 to 185. Then if you taught them well, they should be able to teach at least 4 people to do the same thing. Now that you're in month 3, you're at $1,000 range. And then finally, out of those 4 that they teach, those 4 teach 2 people. And now you're at $2,670 and you are platinum in 4 months. And the good thing about it is if you maintain that level for 12 months, you get different bonuses as well called the stability bonus, which range from $15,000 to $20,000. So if you hold it for 12 months at $2,700, you make approximately $32,000 per month. I mean, per year. Plus the $20,000 bonus, you made $52,000 in that first year. Now, there's something significant about that $2,700 is that if you are able, remember what I said about the debt crisis. If you make around $2,700, you are close to the median income of Huntsville, Alabama. So what does that mean? You can retire somebody just by having $1,700 because they're making more income about as much income as they're making at a job. So they can have a choice of whether they want to work at the job full time, part time, or no time at all. And this could be done by just working at least 10 to 20 hours per week. Duplication. Step 1, learn how to go platinum, which I just showed you beforehand. And then you teach other people to do the same thing. For each person you teach to go platinum, you get an extra $800 per month or close to $10,000 per year, plus an extra $10,000 annual bonus. So as you can see, over the lifetime of 50 years, you can make $1 million for teaching someone to go platinum. But you don't want to just teach one person. You want to teach as many people as possible. If you get around the 3 people to do the same thing, then you're making at least $100,000 per year. Then if you go up to 6 and go diamond, then you're making $250,000 per year, which is more than what your share of the debt would be. So as we stated before, each person who is able to go platinum is worth $1 million in a lifetime. That's why I would never do anything to take advantage of anybody because you actually are worth more than that. And I only want to add value to others as well as you because each person is in value and worth so much, not only to the world, not only to your community, not only to me, but to your family and friends. You are worth so much. And I want you to see the value that you have. Therefore, my team seeks to bless, uplift, and encourage us to see and to do the same thing because how many of y'all can agree that our world needs some blessings? It needs some uplifting and it needs some encouragement. How many of y'all agree with that? And so that is one of the things that we look for in our team is the ability to bless, uplift, and encourage. Now, as I stated before, you have a decision to make. And those, just like I told y'all before in earlier in the presentation, instead this time you have two. The first one is option A. The first option is you work on the job, you stick in the matrix, you go in the rat race, and you say, okay, I'm just going to work my job and work it for 40 years at 40 hours per month, 40 hours a week for 40 years, and hopefully I get 40% of what I'm making when I retire. And so let's make an assumption. How many people in here make $100,000 per year? Not a single person? Oh, but let's just say you make $100,000 per year. After 40 years of making $100,000 per year, you made $4 million in your work life. Unfortunately, if you're in that income bracket, you probably are taking about 50% in taxes. So you got to take away take away $2 million. So in your lifetime or in your work life, you netted $2 million. But the sad thing is, most people make close to the $50,000 range. So they are making $1 million in their lifetime, in their work lifetime. And in most cases, especially if we go by the median, which most people are making less than that. So imagine you're going working 40 years just to say you brought home $1 million. But let's say you bring one person to be and you teach them to be platinum. And so that one person, not including your other income for going platinum as well, this is just for teaching someone to be platinum. That means that you're making about 9,600 per year, plus you're getting a $10,000 stability bonus, which is about $20,000 per year. And then usually if that person lives for 50 years, you're making $1 million in your work lifetime just by teaching somebody to do something that only requires them to work 15, 20, 25 hours per week instead of working 40 hours per week for 40 years. And so as you can see, you can get to a place if you do it correctly and follow our system. You'll be able to teach multiple people to do the same thing. If you think that's too slow, just teach more people. It's just that simple. And so now we're going to the frequently asked questions. So people may ask me, yeah, we have a little technical difficulties, I see. Is this a pyramid? Well, I'll say yeah and no. It depends on what you mean by a pyramid. Or in most cases, people are saying, is it a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme, where everybody is getting all the money is flowing to the top and nobody is getting any money at the bottom. And so I tell them that in this industry, it's not a pyramid scheme because in that aspect, because Agent B can actually make more money than Agent A. For example, let's say A person decides they want to sponsor the B person, and that was it. They said, okay, I taught this one person to do it, and I'm just stopping. I'm okay with the $20,000 per year. But the B person took initiative and said, okay, now that I learned, I'm going to teach as many people as I can, and they teach 3 people. You can see that this person makes more money overall. Another one is that they are busy, they don't have time. And then also they said the probability of success. What is the probability of success? And as you see here, if you look at the first one, the person in B makes more money than person A because they did more. And so they are compensated more because they did more overall. They were willing to share more than the previous person. So just because the person A is at the top, you can see that person B can make more money than the other person. Unfortunately, in the job, that's not the case. I don't know too many people who make more money than their supervisor, let alone a person who works as a janitor making more money than a manager or even a CEO at that case. So the main pyramid scheme would be your job. And then on top of that, for people who say they're busy, they don't have no time, I say, is it productive? Because if you don't change, nothing will. So if you're doing stuff and you're busy and you're ineffective, maybe there may be time for a change. You know, maybe if you're tired of having more month at the end of money, maybe you need to do a change or evaluate how your time is being spent. And first and foremost, we have you don't have to worry about shipping. Most of the people are going to your business. We're going to show you a marketing technique to help people get more traffic to your business so that you will have more people looking at your mall and willing to buy it from it. And you don't have to worry about shipping because the stores are the ones that will deal with shipping. And then finally, the probability of success is that, well, I heard that if you join these types of businesses, that you will not get, that there's a low chance of success. Then I ask you, on this case, define success. Because to me, from what I understand, or the best way I saw it put was by Miss Dr. Nightingale, and he said success is a preconceived notion a, on a preconceived idea, a progressive. Ah, I'm just going blank today. Is a progressive going to a specific preconceived ideal or goal. And the sad thing is, most people do not have a preconceived idea or goal. So most people are going to school. They say, okay, you get good grades, go to school, get into college, and get a good paying job. And they say, and if you go and ask people why do you want to get good grades and get a good paying job, and they'll tell you, well, that's what I was told when I was growing up. My mom told me, my dad told me, my teacher told me, and that's what I did, and I thought that was the right thing to do, and that's what I saw everybody else doing. But no one has a preconceived goal or idea of what they want to go. And so that would be kind of hard to say. But if we go by that, I would ask you, what is the probability of success when people are going to school? There's a lot of people that do not make it through college. But do they ever get their money back? Or do they ever say, okay, since I didn't finish college, I want my money back? 9 times out of 10, the school will laugh at you because that's not in their policy and they don't give you a money back guarantee. And so, not too many things in life do that as well. So, most people take a risk to go to school, and even though you don't make it, you still have a visit by a long lost relative that loves to visit you after you finish school to congratulate you on a new venture that you have called student loans. And her name is Aunt Sally Mae. And secondly, another thing is, what is the probability of success for people getting fit at a gym? Think about it. That's like one of the number one goal that everybody makes is I want to lose a lot of weight so that I could fit into a bikini at summertime. And so what happens is gyms fill up around January, February, and it starts to die down around in March, and then hardly anybody is in there in April. So you see, the probability of success for that is pretty low as well. But even though in the industry, the probability of success is pretty low in most cases, our team have a proven path. Myself, as well as others within my team that I have worked with, are willing to give you the keys, to give you the training, to coach you so that you be able to train other people to do the same thing so that they can become leaders and they can train other people to be leaders. And once they do that, they be able to fight the forces of evil, which is poverty. Wouldn't that wouldn't that be great? Not only would you release your family from shackles of poverty, but you also release your friends, their friends, and other people around the world will be released from shackles and they'll look to you and say, "Thank you for giving me this opportunity." And so, with that, I take this not lightly, and I thank you all for taking out this time to let me speak to y'all about this. So, in conclusion, business on the internet is the future, whether you embrace it or not. We are going to use the internet anyway. Doesn't it make sense to make money out of it? And we are going to buy products anyway. Doesn't it make sense to make money out of it too? So with this, I have some few action steps for you all. First off, if you see that you want to get out of the matrix and you want to change, you want to fight the forces of evil, you want to defeat poverty, you want to have poverty at the soles of your feet, have your foot on its neck and vanquish it so that your family can live in abundance, so that your family can live in prosperity. Then I have a few action items for you in the next slide. However, if you do not see this as an opportunity, if you do not want to, or you just want to stick with your job, which was option A, and work 40 years for 40 hours and hope to get 40% of what you make throughout that 40 year, for 1 year in that 40 year process, then all I could say is thank you for your time. Take care and God bless. And I hope that things will go well for you in the future. Now, for those who made the decision to go forth and make that change, the first step I want to give you is to try the products. And if you're not here to try the products, I want you to click the link below so that you can get started or get in contact with me or one of my teammates and we can get you started on the process to get started. Secondly, we'll be able to answer your questions. I know everybody might have questions, and the people that are here today will have the privilege of asking me the questions directly. But those who are looking at this video will probably have to email me or use the messaging system that we have set forth in order to get in contact with me or one of my teammates or the person whoever invited you. Third thing I want you to do, if you made the decision and you got your questions answered, get started. Most people in this world, when they want to change, they are in get ready mode. They're getting ready to get ready, they get ready to get ready, and getting ready to get ready. And they always waiting for that proverbial tomorrow. You know, I'm gonna get started tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, I'm gonna get started tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, I'm gonna get started tomorrow. 5 years come, they still waiting on that. They still gonna start tomorrow. And unfortunately for those people, tomorrow never start. Tomorrow never actually come for them. And so they live a life of mediocrity because they waiting on that proverbial tomorrow. But you, today, I want you to get started. Get started. Why not now? Why not start the path to get prosperity? Why not now start the path of vanquishing and releasing your family and friends from the chains of poverty? Why not now? And then finally, after you get started, the person who brought you in, or myself, if you checked out one of my funnels or one of my teammates' funnels, We will get in contact with you to help you come up with a game plan for success to make sure we increase your chances and your probability of success. And so, with that, I want to thank you all for coming. And if you saw this as a valuable opportunity for you or want to learn more, I invite you to come down and ask your questions and get back with the person that invited you. And if you're looking at this video, make sure you click the link below to find out how to get more information. And with that, I want to thank you. Take care and God bless.